Now here's a sample of the different stitches. We have 3 single crochets, 3 half double crochets, 3 double crochets, and 3 triple crochets. You see how they are different in height, with our single crochets being the lowest and our triple crochets being the highest. Each of these has a post. This long section here, that's called the post of the stitch. And you can see them clearly on the triple and less clearly on the double and the half double and the single. It has a post, but it's very short. Okay, now there's another stitch I mentioned, the slip stitch. What we're going to do to get to the next row, if this was an actual project that we were doing, we want to get to the next row, you have to we're going to turn our work, but you have to chain up to get to the height of the stitch that you want to use for your next row. What we're going to do is, I'm going to demonstrate the different chains and how it works, and then we're going to actually come back and work on this. I'm going to chain 1 to make a single crochet. And you turn your work. See how I turned my work? Now some people turn it this way. Some people turn it the opposite way, like this. Doesn't matter to me which way you do it. You can do it like I do it, like this. Or you can do it this way. Doesn't matter, as long as you do it the same way for every row. So I made my chain 1, which is what you do for a single crochet. Turn your work. Now for a single crochet, it's different than other stitches as well. This chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So when you make your first single crochet, you're going to go into the very first hole that you have here, the very first stitch. You're going to insert your hook into that stitch, yarn over and pull through, and you have 2 loops on your hook just like in the other single crochets. You yarn over and pull through, and there's your single crochet. And you would go into the next hole. You see your hole you have here? Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And you would continue doing that along your row if you were going to make single crochets all along your row. Now, what if we wanted to make double crochets for our next row? We would have to chain up a higher amount because we want our stitches to be even. For me, I chain up 2. But most of instructional books will tell you to chain up 3. I'm going to chain up 3 here just to show you. So I made 3 chains. You see how I did that? Yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through. Then I'll turn my work just like I did before. But now this, you see this post? This is going to count as a stitch. That's the first stitch of our new row. So we're going to skip this hole that's on top of our first stitch and on the bottom of the chain we just made. We're going to skip that, and we're going to go into the next hole. Yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 for a double crochet. Now when you come back along your row, you're going to make your last stitch in the top of this chain. And we would continue along and make double crochets along as far as we wanted to go. Now you see I got this big gaping hole here. And that's why I don't chain 3. Because the way I make my double crochets, I chain 2. And that also counts as my first stitch. And I work my double crochets. And you see, I don't have that big gaping hole. I do have a little bitty hole, but when I come back and I put my last stitch in this chain, it won't be so prevalent. But what we're going to do now, if you were going to make a triple crochet, you would chain 3 or 4, depending upon how high your stitches are. Now, as you saw, let me do that again. my double crochets. Because I'm working my double crochets over the same size stitch on the previous row, they should be the same height. And as you can see, they are the same height. Now when I start working with these lower stitches, if I was continuing to do a double crochet, it's not going to be the same height because these are lower. Now we're going to review the stitches that we've gone over so far. I've made 2 single crochets here. I'm going to make another single crochet by inserting my hook into the back of the stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. And I'm going to do that again. Insert hook into the loop, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. I'm going to keep on doing that. Notice how I'm moving my thumb and my fingers as I work to make sure that I don't get out of control here. Another reason I like to work into the back loop is because you get this nice edge on the bottom, which looks very much like your top. Almost the same. Virtually the same. It's not appropriate for every circumstance, but it's what I like to do. Now, I'm going to work on some double crochets, so I'm going to chain 2 for myself. You might want to chain 3. And I'm going to turn, and I'm going to skip this first hole because my first chain 2 or chain 3 counts as a stitch on this row. I'm going to yarn over because in double crochet we always yarn over first. Insert my hook in my stitch, yarn over and pull through. Yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. I'm going to do that again. Yarn over, insert into my stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. I want to continue to make double crochets all along the row. Now, something that some new crocheters have trouble with is what is your last stitch. On this row, in the single crochet, this is my last stitch here. This is not a stitch. We don't go into this. Now I'm going to make some triple crochets, so I'm going to chain 3. You might need to chain 4. This again will be a stitch, so I'm going to skip this under here, this hole. I'm going to yarn over twice, insert my hook into the stitch of the previous row, yarn over and pull through. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. That gives me a very long stitch. I'm going to go ahead and yarn over twice, insert my hook, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. You get the idea. I'm going to go ahead and work that row, then I'll be right back. I came back before I finished the row because I wanted to show you the last stitch. Here I have 1, 2. Remember this counted as a stitch on my previous row, so I have 1 here, and look at my post. I have 1 stitch here and 1 here, so I have 2 left on this row. I'm going to yarn over twice, insert my hook here, and that's second to last stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Now, this is my last stitch, right here. See, we have a post. Now, if you're uncertain which is your last stitch, then you can count the stitches of your rows, especially if you work in a short piece like this, to make sure that you continue to have the same number of stitches on each row if you're working even. Here we have so far 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this last one will be 12. Now we're going to insert our hook into the top of that chain. Now, how do you do that? Different ways for different folks. Some just go right between those 2 loops at the top of your chain. And this is what it looks like when you're done that. Okay. Now, some might decide to go through. It's going to be kind of hard to show you this. Go through the 2 loops there. You see that? Do that again. See the top of your stitch here, how you have 2 loops? It's just like a chain stitch, and you got this piece on the back. That's your middle of it. You don't want to go through that. If you're in this method, if you want to go through the 2, go through this top one, and you go through, right, actually that's the bottom one, and the top one, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, just like in before. Let me do that again. I'm not sure if I was in frame then. I'm going to go through here, pull it through, and you see how that looks, the difference in the look. Doesn't really matter which way you do it, as long as you're consistent and you do it the same way for your entire project. I say that over and over again because that's the thing. If you give your work to someone who doesn't crochet, they are not going to know whether you went into both loops or 1 loop or 2 loops or 3 loops or whatever. As long as you're consistent and you get a nice finished look to your project, it'll be fine.